So Jalen is a college student in their early 20s, crouched in the shadows of a narrow alley. Their breath came in shallow gasps as they glanced nervously over their shoulder, making sure they weren't being followed. The glow of distant streetlights provided little comfort in the chilling night air. A police siren wailed in the distance, and Jalen's heart raced faster with every second. They ducked behind a dumpster, hoping to remain unseen. A cold sweat trickled down their neck. They couldn't afford to be caught, not now. The hidden network, their only hope for escape, was in motion, and Jalen had to move fast. Inside their small dorm room, Jalen opened an old leather journal, the pages filled with symbols and cryptic notes. They traced a line on a map, identifying several marked locations, hidden paths that mirrored the escape routes of the historic Underground Railroad. Jalen's heart pounded as they realized the significance of what they were holding. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. Jalen froze, looking up in alarm. The door creaked open, revealing Professor Marshall, an older figure with a knowing look in his eyes. Without saying a word, the professor stepped inside, holding a folded letter. Professor Marshall, calmly.
You found it. Now you must choose. Will you run or will you fight?
Now Jalen's eyes flickered between the letter and the professor, fear and curiosity mixing in their gaze. In the peaceful quiet of the campus courtyard, the two sat on a bench, their conversation low but urgent. Professor Marshall spoke in hushed tones, his words heavy with significance. Professor Marshall.
Yeah, this is bigger than you think. There's a group here. We've been operating in the shadows, much like the Underground Railroad. It's our fight now, against government surveillance, corporate greed, and systemic injustice.
Professor Marshall handed Jalen a letter, sealed with an intricate symbol. The weight of it felt like more than just paper. This was a call to action. Jalen nervously, and was like, "What do I do now?" Professor Marshall.
You're already in this. The letter will lead you to others.
Jalen followed the instructions, leading them to an underground space beneath the campus, a hidden room where several students worked tirelessly on their laptops. The room was dimly lit, filled with papers and old books scattered across tables. Monitors glowed with cryptic codes, and the students seemed absorbed in their work, unaware of anything else. Student leader.
Welcome. You've come to the right place. We fight against the system, much like those who helped slaves escape to freedom long ago. Government surveillance, corporate corruption, we won't let them win.
Jalen looked around, their heart racing. The students worked in silence, typing furiously, eyes scanning the screens with purpose. It felt as though they were a part of something much larger than themselves. Jalen whispering to a student, "What's happening here? What is all of this?" Student leader.
The resistance. The battle for freedom never stopped. It just changed, and we've been fighting ever since.
The group gathered around a large map that was pinned to the wall. Red pins marked several locations, tracing the route to freedom. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone examined the path they would soon take. Student leader, pointing to the map.
This is it. It's the only route that's clear of surveillance. If we make it through the tunnel, we're free. But it won't be easy. We'll be under constant watch.
So Jalen studied the map, their anxiety growing with each passing second. They had to make a choice. Jalen, skeptically. What's the catch? Student leader.
They'll be looking for us. Every step we take will be monitored. But we've come too far to back down now.
Jalen stared at the laptop, their fingers hovering over the keys. Then a notification flashed on the screen. Government surveillance detected. A chill ran down Jalen's spine. The resistance had been discovered. Jalen, panicking. "They found us! We need to move now!" Panic spread through the room. Students quickly began shutting down computers and grabbing their things. Jalen grabbed the letter from Professor Marshall and stuffed it into their bag, ready to flee. In the chaos, the group worked in unison to break through the government's security systems. The monitors flashed with bright red and green codes as they hacked into the surveillance network. The tension was thick as every keystroke felt like the difference between success and failure. Student hacker, focused, murmuring.
"We're almost through. Stay with me."
Jalen watched the screens as the code began to crack. The group was nearly there, and the tension finally broke when the system blinked green. Jalen exhaling in relief. "We did it! We're in!" But just as the words left Jalen's mouth, the wail of police sirens filled the air. They had no time to waste. Jalen crouched in the shadows, holding their breath. A government agent walked past, their steps heavy and deliberate. The agent stopped briefly near the door, eyeing it suspiciously before moving on. Jalen exhaled in relief, Jalen whispering to themselves, "That was too close." Jalen remained hidden in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to move. The group's plans came crashing down as one of the students, their face pale with fear, stood up and made a shocking confession. Betrayer, coldly holding up their phone. "I couldn't keep up the lie. They know. They're coming. It's over." The room fell silent as Jalen and the others stared in disbelief. Betrayal stung like a cold wind. Jalen, furiously, "You sold us out? You betrayed us to the enemy?" Jalen's heart pounded as they raced down the slick highway, the headlights of the pursuing police cars growing brighter. Every twist and turn of the road felt like a life or death decision. The sound of sirens echoed in their ears, and the rain made everything slippery, the tires screeching as they narrowly avoided obstacles. Jalen, gritting their teeth, determined, "I'm not going back, not now." At the edge of the tunnel, Jalen faced off against the agent. Both had weapons drawn, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Agent, coldly, "It's over. You can't run forever." Jalen's resolve hardened. They weren't running anymore. With a sudden burst of speed, Jalen dove into the tunnel, leaving the agent behind. Jalen ran through the dark tunnel. They didn't look back. The tunnel stretched ahead, symbolizing a new beginning. Freedom at last. Jalen, breathing heavily, whispering to themselves, "I'm free. For now."